I've got David Lynch's After Me. Do you want to hear some of David Lynch's After Me? We're reading from my books today. I'll read the first little bit of my book. Let's get some water first. And then, it's going to take a little while to read, so I'll just sip on my water. We're going to do half glass because I've been drinking a little bit of water and I don't want to get waterlogged. Just a half a glass. Okay, so this is David Lynch's After Me. I think you can find these all on my Ko-Fi. If you want a link to that, I can give you a link to my Ko-Fi. Here's the author's note. Let me read the author's note. This book was written in 2019, 2 years about the events after happening 4 years ago, which now it's happened almost 10 years ago now, or it happened in 2017. It happened around December 2017. And a lot has happened to me since then. I'm actually writing a sequel to this memoir called Healings. Firstly, I have had more episodes, yes. And yet I am now more stable than I have ever been in my life. True. I don't have delusions like I did when I wrote this book. Not true. I don't have problems with old white men, problems with car horns, and interpret radio songs as messages or for suggestions about what I should do with my life anymore. True. It's taken medication, time, and therapy to do that. I don't believe that David Lynch is the monster in my closet. That's true. And he has any special relationship. Not true. This has taken a significant amount of work, too, to get here. Also true. I do watch the daily weather reports to remind myself that he's a normal person. I didn't actually watch that to be true, and it helps. I wouldn't be bothered if he didn't make them, though. Not true. But I do appreciate them. I see my therapist weekly. I actually see my therapist every other week now. And have returned to Michigan since 2018. I think he has some words to say about my episode, too. I talk to my ex-boyfriend every so often now. I don't talk to my ex-boyfriend now. And we keep it lighthearted. We don't talk about anything serious from time to time. Part of me questions, but at the same time I feel I'll never get the answers I'm looking for in the end. I'm not going to get the answers I'm looking for in the end. Without further ado, here is David Lynch's After Me. The past, the present, the future. I thought I knew the truth, I recently decided. Journal entry, December 2nd, 2017. I love my life, and sometimes I hate it. I love it when I go out and fight for the kind of life I want to live. I hate it when I fail to get there. I'm pretty excited because I have an interview downtown on Monday to work in a French pastry place. I haven't looked at the job that closely before, but I think it might be a good fit. We'll see because I have an interview on Monday. I love Seattle. For better or for worse, I like it here. I think it's about the same as Death Valley and that surrounding little towns when you start to really understand its love. But finding out what that heart is like is not an easy thing. I haven't quite figured out Seattle. Maybe I never will. But I'm certainly putting in that time. Seattle is not like other cities that I have a certain physical appearance. At least not that I can tell. Seattle is a shapeshifter, changing appearances and hairstyles and genders. The Hall of the Mountain King. The thing is, if I left Seattle, I have no idea where I want to go. So, like in Death Valley, I think I need to wait until I'm ready to have a plan. There's something that Jessica was really bad at, I think. I wonder how she's doing. I really need to call her. I'm worried about writing this book, I said yesterday to Jessica, leaning against her bureau in her bedroom in our apartment at 1 a.m. I really like David Lynch as a director and a celebrity. That's why I latched onto him in all of this. That's why I started this, because I watched Twin Peaks. But Randy, what you experienced was absolutely not David Lynch. I don't know. How would you feel if you read a book like that? Would you be mad? Who cares what he thinks? I care. I don't want him to get mad at me. I look up to him. At some point, Randy, you're going to have to just let him go. A video starts. David is looking to the left over his shoulder. There's smoke permeating the air from his cigarette, and he is smoking. He is wearing black like usual. He is wearing a watch. But there's something in the background, like a shelf, but it's blurry and unseen. He begins talking as his head turns. An idea is a thought. Takes drag of cigarette. It's a thought that holds you more than you. Cut to a field of green grass, wind is blowing through it. Think that it does when you receive it. But in that first moment, there is a spark. Cut to a shot of ocean waves crashing into the rocks. Desire is an idea, is like bait. You bait your hook, and then you wait. Cut to a close-up of rocks and water dripping off them and barnacles on the rocks. The desire pulls those fish in with those ideas. I have an idea, I tell my therapist. I want to write a book about my manic episode. You want to write about your manic episode? Dr. Gee says. He's an Asian man from Hawaii, balding, in an office where the lights are always dim. We're constantly surrounded in images of Hawaii, paintings of waves, pictures of family, and native plants. Yes, I reply. It's going to be very difficult to write about because it's very disjointed in parts, and I'll have lots of false memories like in the rant of Death Valley. Like the playing card. I cringe. Yes. What do you hope to accomplish by doing this? He asked as he scribbled notes on his blue notepad. I never see what he writes, but by now, after months of sessions, we've built up lots of paper. I say lots of things. He asks a lot of questions. I have a lot of unanswered questions that I want to try and fill in. I want to try to put together what happened to me, I replied. I want to show people what it's like to be manic, how it was for me. What was it like? It's hot out, but then again, it's always hot out. It's Death Valley, California. It's 2015. It's before the super bloom, a time when all the unseen flowers poke up from the rocks and the dirt of the lowest points in the desert. It's before the flooding that would cause the super bloom. I'm at a nadir point at my stay in Death Valley. I've just moved from working to the ranch as a busser because I was harassed by a manager. I was making less money. I tried to stay positive, but it's more work and more hassle. The restaurant I worked at and was less prestigious than the inn, a 4-diamond hotel. I used to work as a server up there in the morning and watch the golden light shine off the blue mountains in what I called the golden hour, which was around 4 o'clock, around when my shift ended. But that was over. I worked down in the ranch. The building was small and brown. There were about 30 tables, all places in a compact space, but the room could turn and burn guests all night. I stood there on a hot afternoon just before dinner started around 2:53 p.m. when 2 men burst through the door. I remember thinking that door should have been locked, but I said nothing. Are you open yet? Rosemary, the hostess, said no. I shuffled her off. Oh, I'm sure it's okay. I can get some drinks started, at least if you're thirsty. I'll track down a server. I thought absently. Doesn't he look like David Lynch? Isn't that silly? There's no way. I sat them down and asked them what they wanted. The man in the suit, who wears a suit and tie in the middle of the desert when it's over 100 degrees anyway, asked for coffee. I made a face but said nothing. The other man at the table also asked for coffee. When I brought it out, I overfilled the mug. I was nervous. Could it really be David Lynch? I couldn't ask. It seemed too rude and too obvious. I left them alone, but I thought to myself, I'll talk to Rosemary. Hey, Rosemary, I said. The room was absolutely empty and silent. Hey, she said back. I have an idea for a show. And that's how the rant began. I don't know if I should keep going. I'm going to pause here. I'll read more later. We'll stop there. I think we'll stop at the show. If you want to hear more, let me know. I'll read more.